All right. Typically, I wait a little bit before I start talking, but I actually just let's make this short and sweet today, so we can just get through this, right? So, sorry to the folks who are going to join like a minute in. We're going to get started. So, be sure to watch this in archive, and you'll be able to see everything. So let's just start off here. What we've got a freezing rain threat coming into the region for sure over the next couple of days. Yeah, I mean it's nothing we haven't dealt with before in this area for sure, right? But hey, Leo, I see you on there. Nice to see you. Just gonna say hey there. So when you look at this setup coming in, you see this storm system right here. Let's scroll down a little bit and see if I can actually make this work, right? This storm system right here is the one we're looking at. This dip in the jet stream, that's the weather maker that we're seeing roll on in here the next couple of days. You can, if you've been following along this winter and watching, this trough is not the strongest trough we've seen all winter. It's not the strongest storm system we've seen all winter. Outside of the freezing rain, this is pretty much not a huge event. In fact, the freezing rain may not be a huge event either. But you see, this trough moves on, moves off to the north and east. This is the GFS model, by the way. Let's take a look at the precip type and rate and all that. And let's actually zoom in. So we're actually focused on this system here in the southern plains. So let's just go ahead and make that adjustment. And you can see as soon as tonight, you might start seeing some. Hey, John, I see you. Just saying hi there. As soon as tonight, as soon as about nightfall, you could start seeing some of this freezing rain and such start taking shape, very spotty. Thanks, Pablo. And as you see it move on through, you can see this freezing rain just kind of takes off and overnight. And then sometime tomorrow morning, the atmosphere warms and you change over to all rain as this moves off to the east, right? And if you take a look, let's just take a look at a sounding from right at midnight tonight, and we'll do it right over Ada, Oklahoma. What you can see here, and let me zoom in. Oh, yeah, that worked. I had no idea if that was going to work or not. This blue dash line here is the freezing level as you go on up. The red here, that is your temperature, and the green is your dew point. And what you can see here is that, and this is QT chart. If you wonder how these work, best thing I can tell you is we got a ton of these on our channel. Check them out. Check out the tutorials on there. Having trouble talking today, but this temperature rises above freezing for a good deep layer here. It's above freezing from probably what 900 all the way up to 700 millibars almost. So it's very deep. So this isn't going to be sleet. Most likely this is going to be freezing rain. You just got some really cold air here at the surface overnight. That's going to cause, for a better lack of a better term, some freezing rain over Oklahoma, perhaps Texas, etc. And that's what we're looking at. You see it right here. And then let's go to a higher resolution model. Let's go with the HRRR and let's go all the way over to the 18Z run, because I think this is going to be a little bit better for us to kind of get a good feel for everything. And as you go through the night, you can see you do get some freezing rain, shower storms, and the HRRR high-res models are really concentrating in this area here in western Arkansas as you go into tomorrow morning. Same type of sounding look, so we don't need to spend too much time breaking that down. And what ends up happening is you get a couple of pretty decent areas of ice that do happen overnight. Let's take a look at the newest HRRR. I haven't seen this data, so we're about to be surprised together. And that's about what it has been showing right there. So basically, there's an area here that's 0.25 to maybe a half an inch. So quarter to a half inch of ice on trees, power lines, and such here across western Arkansas, southern Missouri, even a couple areas probably here in southeast Oklahoma. This isn't a huge icing event. This isn't like the all-timer ice storm of the century. We've seen these setups, honestly, many times before. I mean, we've seen this type of thing. What this can do is a quarter to a half inch of ice definitely can knock down power lines, cause power outages, those sorts of things. It happens, right? So it's not something we haven't dealt with before, though. It's not a absolute all timer event, but for some folks, it's going to be impactful. The big thing I would say is that if you're driving to work tomorrow morning and you're in this broad area, be sure to take it slow because any bridges, that sort of thing, could easily have ice on them, especially if you're going to work at or just before sunrise. That could be a pretty big deal. So that's our winter storm. And let's take a look here. Let's scroll a little bit north. I'll show you as this goes north and east. Let's just roll out here. You can see the ice accumulation certainly go all the way up into through Missouri into the St. Louis area. HRRR and other models have been showing in that 2.25 to half an inch range in that area as well. Again, that's enough to cause out power outages, tree branches fall, especially if you have some winds. Also, just some slick roads and bridges, that sort of thing, especially up here where it's been colder and the ice will tend to accumulate a little bit more efficiently up there. So it's going to be a problem. I mean, it's not going to be a storm with zero impacts, but it's also not going to be the highest impact storm we've had all winter long as well, to be sure. I mean, I'm kind of worried up here in Illinois about some of these totals, but Illinois is also a place we typically honestly don't talk about too much because we're kind of focused in this general area down here in Oklahoma and Texas. I am just like I cannot avoid tapping on my trackpad right now. I don't know what the problem is. And so the next question is, well, we got a winter storm system coming in. Is there going to be like perhaps some severe weather? Well, if you go forward, what you see is there's a little bit of moisture that comes on shore, but see how you have 50s and then all of a sudden 60s. That's very modified air. And if you just click in here, you can see there's like no instability. 62 over 62, which means there's just like it's just nothing's going on there, right? That's a rain. That's a rain sounding, pure rain sounding, not very rich moisture at all throughout the whole event. And if you go over here, let's just go to severe weather. I do want to show a little bit of the convective nature of some of the stuff tonight. You can see how you do have like, it looks like a bunch of little individual thunderstorms. That's where you're going to get a pretty spotty coverage of the ice as well. You're going to get it to a point where you think, hey, no ice has fallen, but you drive 10 miles down the road where a lot of ice did fall, sort of thing. Did a lot of rain fell and accumulated as ice. So you're going to have that kind of spotty nature to it. But if you look down here, there's going to be some embedded thunderstorms, but this is not a big severe weather type of thing at all. This is just very much nice general thunderstorms. Going to be a lot of storms around, a lot of rain, that sort of thing. But not really looking at too much severe weather. I mean, let's pull a sounding here. You can see that's just minimal instability right there. And with storm crowding, probably won't work out too well. Let's take a look here at the Storm Prediction Center. You can see they do finally have a marginal risk here on day 3 for Southeast Texas, South Texas. And that's not going to be an all-timer of a risk. Probably some gusty winds, small hail. Be coming in with that. In fact, we can take a look at that with Rufus, actually. Let's go back to the 12Z run so we can go out to 60 hours. And you'll see that as you go into day 3 here, you can see that, that's not nothing, but this isn't an all-timer of an environment. I bet once I pull this up, yeah, once again, not just a lot of shear. I could see a very, very low tornado threat, maybe some hail if you can get some instability, but not a big severe weather threat. That's pretty common with these swinging El Niños anyways. You get these storm systems blow through really rapidly, but you get repeated frontal intrusions into the Gulf of Mexico. And you see that we're starting out here like there are dew points in the low or high 20s here just off the coast, right? That's just something you don't see very often, only in winter. And this is very dry air. It's to get air this dry, to make it that dry over the ocean is pretty remarkable in a lot of ways. And you see that this moisture just really never makes much progress inwards, right? And inland, it just doesn't. There's a lot of dry air here. It's obviously modifying as it goes north. So not a big severe weather threat, to be sure. But let's take a look at the ice totals on Rufus as well, just to compare and contrast. You can see it does a lot of the same stuff, right? A lot of the same stuff, half inch max kind of through here. It's again, like I said, this isn't an all-timer of a storm. We don't need to go raid the stores for bread and milk and be prepared for weeks on end of power outages. I mean, Rufus is even less bullish up here for initially, and then you can see, yeah, just nice bullseye. If there's an ice storm impact that's bigger time, it'll be up here in the Illinois area for sure. Right here, Illinois, St. Louis, not quite to Chicago, but central Illinois. That'll be where the heart of ice storm impacts happen, and then possibly down here into Arkansas as well. So yeah, I mean, just want to keep this short and sweet. There's no need to belabor the point and do this too long today. This isn't a all-timer of a system. It's going to have impacts for sure, especially up I-44. After Tulsa, I-44 kind of does this number. So there's going to be some slick roads through the whole area, but not expecting a lot of major impacts in here. Let's just go through here, and you can see just snowfall wise, not expecting much snow out of this. So yeah, don't want to make this too long, because this isn't a system worthy of being having a long discussion. It's just not. So this is something we haven't not seen before. Just another system rolling throughout the whole week. We're actually going to get a lot of rain. That's the big story this week. One last look, and let's go over here to WPC to show that that's the big story this week, is this rainfall right here. These totals right here, we're over 3-4 inches. This is area that's been in drought for quite a while. So that's the big story of the week. Lots of rain. We're going to be really, really, really getting some good moisture in. And I'm already seeing where that dry line may be wanting to set up this spring. My severe weather seasonal forecast is coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'm looking forward to that. So we'll be talking about that then. But hey, until then, if you live in an area where there's a lot of ice planning fall, make some preparations. Be ready to maybe be without power for a bit in case you get a little bit more ice accumulation. But generally speaking, we're going to be okay after this one, after this week. Just a lot of rain going to fall. It's going to be an active week, but also one that isn't an all-timer. So good El Nino rain's coming. We'll see where we end up. See you next time.